Good evening, my name is Danson Lin. This is a situation paragraph for Operation Bobcat Lining. We are 1st Squad, 1st Platoon, Charger Company, 1-5 Infantry. Our task is to attack to destroy Objective Phantom in order to deny enemy influence on battalion main effort. And Alpha Team here is the main effort, Bravo Team is a supporting effort. Their task is to destroy Objective Phantom in order to deny enemy influence. The key weapon system includes an M249 and M320. And the attached weapon team is tasked to support by fire in order to suppress enemy influence. The key weapon systems include the M240 Bravo. Now this is the area of our operation. In the north we're bounded by 37 northing. In the south we're bounded by 31 northing. In the east we're bounded by 17 easting. And in the west we're bounded by 10 easting. North we have Objective Reaper. In the south we have Objective Phantom. In the east we have the mountain range, and in the west we have Baden River. As for things we should familiarize ourselves with, the first thing is the bridge that connects the village to us. The second thing is a Sonling Industry Road, and the last one is the intersection that connects Sonling Industry Road to Route Camaro. Now, as for rotary assets of the enemies, they have one platoon of Z-10K attack helicopters that have a reaction time of 30 minutes. As for indirect fires, there's a PL-66 152mm howitzer battery, 10-minute reaction time. A PP-87 82mm mortar team on Objective Bobcat, 5-minute reaction time. And as for reinforcements, they have a motorized platoon with a 40-minute reaction time. And as for air defense, they have a PGZ-04 Alpha platoon and a suspected HQ-16 platoon. Now onto the GTAO. First thing is the existing natural obstacles, which are right here, and this one's severely restricted, while these mountains are just restricted. And as for reinforcing tactical, there's a wire obstacle on the north of Route Camaro that affects the enemies. And as for A1, this is the main avenue approach for friendly forces, which stays inside the mountain cover for longer, while A2 moves out of the mountain cover for longer to reach Objective Phantom earlier. A3 is an enemy AA, which allows the recon squad to move down towards Objective Phantom using a road, the Sonling Industry Road. A4 is a main enemy AA that uses Route Camaro down all the way from the north, and A5 is the AA for the enemy forces at the village. So A2 allows the US forces to reach Objective Phantom early, so that's a very important AA for us. Now, as for key terrains, the key terrain 1 offers friendly forces defensive position from a high ground, so it's very important. Key terrain 2 is at the intersection, which allows enemy forces to reconsolidate. Key terrain 3 is, and key terrain 3 and key terrain 4 are civilian populations. Key terrain 5 is the bridge which connects the civilian population to us. And key terrain 1 is very important to us because it allows us to gain access to sight on their avenue approaches, and it also gains sight to the objective. And as for observation and field of fires, the main one is right here at key terrain 1, which allows us direct field of fire towards them. And as for covers and concealment, there's the main cover is right here in the mountain range, protects us from direct fire, and concealment includes this vegetation right here on Objective Phantom, the one at key terrain 2 and key terrain 3 for the enemies. This one can be used for friendly forces too, as it's on Objective Phantom. Now, how will the weather affect our operation? First thing, visibility, 15.3% illumination on the day of the attack. So, light starts at around 0500 and ends at around 1900. And this will allow us to start moving towards the enemy at 0500 and attack at 1900, as the enemies don't have MVGs, so it will favor us. And as for the wind, there's low wind speed, so it's negligible effect on both of us. However, it may favor the enemy as there's an uphill towards Objective Phantom. And as for precipitation and temperature and humidity, both of those are pretty high, so it's going to negatively affect U.S. forces as they might not be accustomed to it. And for cloud cover, there's pretty high cloud cover, so enemy forces may have trouble communicating back to the village, and this can also provide U.S. forces with concealment while they're on the mountains. Now onto the Covey sit tempt. First thing, they're at 90% strength, a total of 128 packs. And as for the first platoon of the 2nd Battalion, 179th Light Motorized Combined Arms Battalion, their task is to occupy the area in order to prevent enemy force or U.S. forces from moving south. For the other battalion, supporting Effort 1, their task is to defend the village area in order to also prevent U.S. forces from moving south. And as for the HQ 16 platoon, supporting Effort 3, the task is to disrupt this area in order to support that platoon. And as for supporting Effort 2, the task is to disrupt this area in order to support battalion operations. And lastly, for the recon supporting Effort 4, the task is to screen the main area in order to prevent enemy forces from moving south as well. The key weapon systems include the QJY-88 and the QBU-88. And they have 9 PAX. Now onto the platoon sit tempt. They are 90% strength as well. They have an attachment. The task is to occupy and control the area in order to prevent U.S. forces from moving south towards Titan Air Base. As for the main effort, their task is to occupy and prevent U.S. forces from moving on this area of the Ras Camaro. As for supporting Effort 1, they're controlling the intersection so they can reconsolidate and prevent us from moving down. And as for supporting Effort 2, they're disrupting the north of Ras Camaro so we can't use it at all. And as for the supporting Effort 3, it's the recon squad preventing us from moving south without getting detected. And lastly, the motorized platoon supporting Effort 4, they're disrupting Objective Phantom in this area in order to support the other enemy forces and preventing us or the U.S. forces from moving south. Now onto the squad level of this attempt. First off, we have the motor team. Their task, as before, is to disrupt this area in order to support the other enemy forces. So they're at 90% strength with 4 personnel. Max range of 6 kilometers. And their minimal range is 120 meters in this area with QBZs that support them in close range. And as for the recon squad, they have 2 QBZs here and a sniper and an LMG in the center. And those two have a range of 1,000 meters, which is this area. So their task, as before, is to screen this area to prevent U.S. forces from moving south and reaching the motor platoon or the airbase. And this motor platoon disrupts this area and prevents the U.S. forces from moving south with the help of the recon squad. Onto the enemy capabilities. First thing, intelligence. The available recon squad screens the OPOPs for early warnings for the mortar team. The movement movement and maneuver. Enemies are dispersed around the AO, so most movement is canalized to Ras Camaro, and this will allow them to be openly seen as it's an open road. As for fires, we have the mortar, the PP-87, which forces our U.S. forces to keep elements small and dispersed so they don't get indirectly fired on. As for protection, the recon squad is placed pretty forward compared to some of the other enemy forces, so it does put them at risk, but also protects the mortar more. And as for sustainment, Ras Camaro is the main path, so it gives a negative influence for the enemies, as they will be openly seen on the route if they're trying to bring sustainment. And as for command and control, the fires of this motor team is completely triggered by the recon squad whenever they notify like this team of the enemy US forces coming in. Okay, MLCOA. So the purpose of the enemy's operation is to prevent our movement towards the south by supporting defenders on objective Balakat. They will accomplish this by by disrupting detected US forces and delay our maneuver. And so what they have to do is quickly fire with their PP-87 in order to prevent us and delay us. And their enabler is a recon screen, which helps them detect our forces and cue them to shoot. So their end state for terrain is having the bridge and intersection controlled, having the civilians, they wish to minimize damage to infrastructure. As for our US forces, they wish to detect us and disrupt us. And as for friendlies, they wish to minimize casualties for future operations. Now onto the concept sketch. First thing, mission statement. The Charger Company 1-5 Infantry, they wish for them to disrupt enemy forces in Ao Ronin no later than 30/2200 August 24 in order to deny enemy influence on the BN decisive operation. The expanded purpose is to conceal the current capability of the Charger Company, divert forces from objective Bobcat, and buy time to reconsolidate for follow-on operations. So their key tasks include disrupting enemy operations in depth, deny enemy uncontested use of high-speed avenues of approach, retain maximum combat power, avoid decisive engagements, and reconsolidating 2nd Platoon and 3rd Platoon. And their end states for terrain is for primary MSRs and Ao Ronin to be contested. For enemies, they wish to disrupt them without them gaining the knowledge of the Charger Company composition and disposition. They wish to minimize civilian casualties and reconsolidate everyone and get ready for a follow-on offensive operation. As for platoon intent, they are to disrupt enemy forces in Ao Ronin in order to deny enemy influence on the battalion main effort. So they have the same key tasks and same end state. And as for adjacent units, for 2nd Platoon, they're tasked to disrupt the use of Rat Camaro and also destroy Objective Reaper, while 3rd Platoon is also tasked to disrupt the use of Rat Camaro and suppress Objective Ghost. Any further questions?